Alright, it is Thanksgiving Sunday today, and what am I thankful for? Well, everything I got. I've got an awesome life. Unfortunately, we're still in a pandemic, but I sincerely hope that we get out of this pandemic and things are going to turn better. Having said all that, I got a bike to build, and it's for the winter. What a change of subjects. Now, the weather today, it's chilly and it's windy. It's not comfortable back here, but my shed is still messy, so I'm still working outside. And I'll show you what these fenders look like right now. These are really nice aluminum fenders. I think I showed them to you before. But these fender stays, or whatever they're called, especially this one here, it's looking kind of rusty. Now, I don't know if I'm too picky, but I'm going to try to either bring that back, or I'm just going to paint it with flat black paint, because I want this bike to look as good as the rest of it. This is supposed to be fast drying. It might almost be too cold for this, but with the wind I think it'll still work. I'll take these off, of course. Yeah. I'll show you when I paint these things, okay? Alright, you're looking at the same piece of fender stay that I showed you before. It was very rusty before. Now it doesn't look so bad, but if you look very closely, you can still see the pits in there. I've decided to paint this anyways. I treated this with spray 9 and aluminum foil. I should show you on the next one how I do that, and it takes off the rust, surface rust. The rust always looks worse than it actually is because the rust stains remain on the surface of the chrome. But in this case, where I see the pits even after polishing it, I can tell that it's not going to take very long in the winter for this to rust again, so I'm hoping that a simple coat of flat black paint is going to help prolong this. You know, it can't hurt, and it'll still look nice. Alright, here's how it's done. This is the other fender stay. I am spraying it with spray 9. Now I got just a little piece of aluminum foil here. That's all you need. And now I'm rubbing this. You get the idea. So let me do this for a few minutes and then I'll bring you back. Alright, well, the second one didn't work nearly as good as the first one. You can see this side isn't too bad, but if I go around it here, it's still rusty. I'm gonna make it black. Alright, well, that is just really a cosmetic thing. I'm so picky. Okay, see what I've done here is I put the wheel in just temporarily, just in order to see how to mount this fender, because you could either mount this bracket in front or in back of the fork. So this fits perfectly like this, so that's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to tighten this, and then I'm going to look for my fender stays and put them on too. I was going to clean up these wheels today. We almost have the fender all set up. It's good, but see those eyelets here, for some odd reason they don't have any threads in there. That's what I have a tap and die set for. A little bit of WD-40. Not much at all, and I'm gonna run the tap through there. M6. Hello to a typical Monday afternoon, but today happens to be Tuesday. That's because it is the day after Thanksgiving. Like usual, you can hear a lot of background noise because I'm in my backyard. I'm dressed a little bit warmer today because the temperatures, as is typical for this time of year, they are on the decline. But I still have to assemble my bike, and what's holding me back is that the parts that I'm using for this, they they are dirty. And I need time to clean them up really good. So I'll show you my wheel. This, what you see right here, it's my front wheel. It is in better shape than it might look here. See, you got the hub. I'll be taking that apart. See, you can tell everything's a little dirty. The rim used to be so shiny that when I first got it, I thought it was a steel rim. But now it is corroded a bit. I got studs on my tires, and yeah, they're also a little bit rusty. I have to make sure that they're all in there all the way so it doesn't poke through my tube, and that's what I'll be doing. See, one point for concern is right here, because the spoke nipple is trying to get through the rim tape. Wheel moves reasonably well, but it is dirty as hell. Okay, I'll show you just really quickly here. On my winter bike, I have a tube just like any old bicycle tire. Let's see, what I have in here is a liner, and you can see that there's something underneath them. I'll show you. See, these are homemade studs. They're actually little sheet metal screws. See, this one is a bit rusty. So is this one. And they can stay. But what I have to make sure is that this liner gets moved to a slightly different position so that those spots that might have got some wear will not be in the exact same place. These homemade studs, I heard they are inferior to commercial studded tires, but as you may have noticed from before, I'm not such a huge fan of winter cycling, so I'm hoping to get by with this. Just one more season. Okay, time to clean the wheel. Good old sponge and soapy water. Can't go wrong with that. As you could probably tell, I am opening up the hub. See, this is the lock nut. I'm taking it off to free the cone because I want to see if the grease in there is clean and what condition the ball bearings are in. I do not have replacement ball bearings, so I'm hoping they're good, but at least I can service this, you know, clean it up, make sure the lubrication is just right. It's part of maintenance. Alright, here is the cone. This is what our ball bearings are riding on. It is dirty looking, but when I clean it, I'm hoping it's going to be shiny so that I know it's not pitted or anything. Okay, little status update. See, this is my axle with the fixed cone. If you look really carefully, I don't know if the lens will focus this close. It'll focus on me instead. But there is a little bit of a sign of wear. So this cone is not perfect, but it is still good enough for riding around town here. Packed with new grease, this is gonna roll just like a new one. And also, I'd like to show you my wheel, my hub, I need to say. And that looks just about perfect in there. Next step, pack this with grease, put the ball bearings back in, put everything back together, and then adjust the play, which there shouldn't be any. There shouldn't be any play, but at the same time the wheel has to roll nice and easy. That's the key. So if you've watched some of my previous videos, I thank you for that, but then you would know what I'm doing here. I am lubricating my hub, just giving this a bed of grease so I can put those ball bearings in there and they'll stay, even if I was to turn it upside down. Alright, I fast forward to this through the stuff that I cannot do with one hand because I gotta hold the camera. See, I'm turning this upside down just to demonstrate. I got 10 little ball bearings in there. You can barely see them because they're also covered with grease. And now I put my seal back on there. Mind you, before I put that on, I'm going to wipe it a little cleaner. Right, wheel assembly made simple. See, all my ball bearings, everything is inside the hub. So I take my axle and stick it right in the hole. Careful not to disturb the ball bearings. And there you go. Now we got the cone from the other side. See, now this is almost tight enough just by hand to call it perfect. My wheel is spinning like a dream. What I need, however, is the lock nut. The washer goes between that and the lock nut. Tighten this just by hand until it makes contact. And then the rest of my adjustment is just trial and error. It seems perfect to me now, so I'm going to tighten it in place right there. And it's still perfect. Okay, as you can probably tell, I'm slowly running out of daylight here. I stuck the wheel into the frame, into the fork I should say, just to see if this is dished and kind of trued. I'm not going to be able to see it very precisely like this, but I already know that I'm satisfied. Have a look. See, the wheel is centered between the two sides of the fork, and the reason I tried this is because the other day when I stuck it in here as I was mounting the fender, it seemed like it was a little bit off. That could have been the way it was inside the dropouts, but this is fine. Now, I would absolutely love to install the tire and mount this so that I can see how low the fender can go, because I had a problem here the other day with my V-brake. The V-brake would be touching this. So I'm torn here. I think I'm going to try to put this on, see if I have enough daylight. Okay, what you're looking at now is I managed to put some decals on there, and I think it looks amazing. Don't you think? Don't you agree? Look at. Woohoo! Now back to the serious stuff. I gotta do those wheels. I ran out of daylight, but you can hear me and you can see the bike behind me. The rear wheel is still dirty. What I ended up doing instead is that I just fitted the rear rack and the fender and the wheels. I made sure that they have enough clearance and stuff, and the next step is going to be to finally clean up that rear wheel and then make sure that the brakes have enough clearance and install the drivetrain, the handlebars, the cables, all that good stuff. Yeah, it's not summer anymore. It gets dark much earlier now, so but you can see me, right? Alright, well, tomorrow maybe? Hello. Alright, the other night I left off in the dark, so here we are. Skipped a day. I didn't do anything on this bike on Thursday, and today is Friday. I actually canceled the job today because it's cold. It's not so comfortable out here anymore, so I gotta get this done, or I have to clean up the shed sufficiently so that I can actually do some work in there. That seems to be a big monster kind of undertaking. My last video, I had an interesting comment. Somebody was paying attention, which is good, but they made an assumption. They made an assumption that this bike had been in a front-end collision and that this was obvious and it'd be unsafe to ride. Well, let's take a closer look at the frame so I can show you what this is all about. There's something to it, but it's not what this person thought. See, when you look at right underneath where I put my Norco sticker, right there, see there's an indentation and there's also a hole. Same thing on the down tube. See that? This definitely looks like something might be bent, but this hole has been there since 1984 or whenever this bike was made, and it's for the cables. See, there's another one down there. That's where they come out. Cable for the derailleurs. They go right through this tube, and for the rear brake, it goes through the top tube. The frame is 36 years old and it's fine. Definitely, thank you for paying attention. Thank you for the concern. But I am happy to report that this bike, the frame is in top shape. And you'll see it on the road soon. I'm back here with another wheel. I may not take this apart because this is, like, I can feel it. The grease in there is fine. Bucket of soapy water. And I have it close by not just because I need it for cleaning this. I also need it to dip my hands in there once in a while because it's freaking cold here. Yeah, the other day they said on the weather, on the news, they said the normal high for this time of year for Edmonton, it's 11 degrees Celsius. Well, today it's about 0. But we can't complain because for most of the September and October so far, we've had above average temperatures in the higher teens, which is nice. But you know, that's how averages come to be. You get some really high temperatures and before you know it, you get something like this. So, well, I've got to focus on cleaning the wheel. I'll show you what it looks like in a little bit here. Okay, this rear wheel is put back together with the 6-speed freewheel. It's in here, it's centered and all. I didn't really show this because my hands are frozen. See, I don't know if you can see this, but I washed the rim with water and now there's ice on it, so probably minus 2 or 3 degrees out here, and you know, all this metal, it's cold. But I wanted to show what I do for my dropouts because these are stamped dropouts. They're not the greatest, they're a cheap version. But in order to reinforce this, I took an old derailleur hanger and I cut it right there so I can turn it upside down and put it on this side to kind of limit how far the axle can travel. It also reinforces the dropout. It makes it a little bit thicker. There's more for this nut to grab onto, so when I hit bumps it doesn't come loose and the wheel shifts and stuff. That's something I have experienced in the past with these kind of dropouts, so I found a way to deal with it. So it's a bit on the cold side out here. I don't know, it's getting dark soon too. Be assured that this bike is going to run on the road very soon. Stay tuned for that. Log in next week. Subscribe to my channel so then you'll know when it happens.